All right, so let's talk about first three episodes of season two of Bel-Air, right? Which is a show that we've pretty much enjoyed since it premiered last year, right? And similar to last year, we got we in this case here, we got the first three episodes. I actually think that's a really like smart tactic. I see some reviewers actually got four episodes, and
Right,
I'd be
right.
like, well, where's episode four going on? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no,
But
yeah,
yeah, we get three, and I would say for the most part, these three are worth it, right? So
yeah,
I would say just before I will do the substance for this, right? So when it came to Bel Air, right? Like I know a lot of people sort of dismissed it, because it's not like the Fresh Prince of Bel Air that we knew. It's edgy and trying so hard to be edgy and all that stuff, right? But for me, I just saw it as a Gen Z version remake, if you will, of the series. More, leaning towards drama than comedy, right? And
right.
for me, that's what made the show work, right? It really made you believe in these characters. And I want to say believe. I mean, in the sense that they feel they feel like real people. You know what I mean? They're not
Yeah,
like characters out of a sitcom, right? Which I could clearly see is the point of this show, right? It treats everybody like, yeah, they are these three-dimensional characters. They could exist in this world here. They have problems, you know what I mean? They have to deal with it. They have flaws and whatnot, but they all trying to get by, right? Whether it's Will Smith himself, played by Jabari Banks, who plays him quite excellently, in my opinion. Whether it's Carlton, right, or Hillary, right, played by we girl Coco Jones, right?
right, right.
Or Ashley, you know what I mean? And just all these characters, even Jazz as well too. He gets a lot of not so much backstory, but a lot of character development as well too, right? And I really was impressed by with this first season here, that it did not rely on the whole edginess of like what the trailer was into that like, oh,
Right, right.
Will is like this bad boy, and he's trying to escape the streets, man, and the streets are gonna come to him even though he's in some places bougie as as Bel Air, right? And it did lean into that, but it was not entirely about that. There were all these other subplots that more or less let the audience know that no, you can relax and watch the show. Like it's not gonna be some dark, violent show. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
again, I could still understand people like especially watching the trailer or like watching pieces of the show and tell themselves, all right, nah, this not for me. They're trying way too hard, blah blah blah, right? And in no way is this like was that last season perfect, right? But
right.
it just in terms of just setting up this world, like this is just all right, this is 2022 Fresh Prince. This is what we're about. And yeah, for the most part, it works, right? And I would say that this second season more or less follows on that, right? And what we get here, well, we continue with Will, right? If you remember, with the season finale where he met his father Lou,
Right.
played by much to my surprise by Marlon Williams,
Malawians,
right?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, well, he busts out, right? Because he
right.
just felt like, Uncle Phil and, his Aunt Vivian and even his mom too lied to him. Pretty much said that, oh, well, his dad either was arrested or I think they just say that he was in jail, right? That's all they say. They didn't say that he was dead. I don't think so. They just said that he was just in jail, right?
Right.
So we meet him pretty much crashing over jazz. You know what I mean? If you remember from the first episode, they hit it off very well. And he in terms of just making money, he does street ball, right? Which actually makes sense because yeah, that's where we would introduce the character of Will, back when he was back when he was in Philly, sorry. And yeah, the situation that went down, playing b-ball outside the school, right? If you remember from the theme song to the original show, right? So yeah, he's doing that, but at the same time he's still going to the college, with Carlton, right? But
Right.
it's just that Will is not coming home. He's not going home. So
Right.
pretty much, Vivian and
Right. And then so he
and
ended.
Phil, sorry, and Uncle Phil pretty much like miss the guy. They miss
Right.
Will. They want him back home, right?
Well, yeah, but you gotta keep it up with everybody but Uncle Phil.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And I don't want to run through every single thing that happened, right? But through some circumstances, yes, he comes back home. They bury the hatchet and whatnot. Will and Uncle Phil, so everything is seemingly back to normal, right? But there's a situation going on with Ashley's teacher, who, funny enough, is played by Tatiana Ali. I thought that was
Right.
so
Yeah.
perfect, right? Brilliant, 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 right? It's Ashley, old Ashley meeting young Ashley. It's
Yeah.
perfect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, who is this English lit teacher, you know what I mean, at the, well, it's academy actually, not so much a college,
Right.
right? And pretty much she is fired because she was more or less feeding, I would say,
Right.
Ashley all these books on the
Moving
side,
on, right. Well,
and
and
it's
we
like,
have a
it.
we have a little proto Karen, Karen in the making, setting that up and causing issues because she's
Yes,
the
yes,
one
yes.
taking it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
This.
Well,
Yeah,
that's right. True.
yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
well,
Yeah.
well, wait. All right. So sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah. So it's all about these Black empowerment books, all these well, more leaning towards feminism and Black empowerment, right?
Yeah, it
But
is. Yeah.
it's not in the school curriculum, so eventually she gets fired, right? That's Mrs. Hughes, right? So the BSU now which Carlton was a part of.
Right.
Actually, he gets roped back in, and
Right.
it's so clever how it happens too. And I love that it more or less references the original series, where it's like, yeah, what I mean, Will kind of looking out for Carlton now. So it's like, hey, this girl at BSU, you find she real fine, right? Well, yeah, come through and work with them, and you get to be with she, right?
Right.
And he does that, right? But at the same time now, and he's doing a really, really good job in terms of like just spurring the students, and more or less they just want to stage just protest against what's going on, right, with Mrs. Hughes, right? But at the same time now, if you remember with Carlton,
Mhm.
he has anxiety issues, right? So
Mhm.
he was actually told, well, actually, his parents now actually kind of reduce his medication a little bit, right? I
Right.
should say a considerable bit, I should say, right? And with Carlton is like, you know what, I'm fine, I'm good, everything is good.
Yeah,
But
causing
because of
problems.
all the extra pressure, and I have to stress on that, the extra pressure, everybody, even right down to Will, even right down to the girl that Carlton trying to track, putting on him now. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's trying to do all these things and he just can't do it, right? And a couple more subplots going on here, right? So
Well,
we
Jeffrey.
continue on with what's going on with Philip and Jeffrey, who
Right.
yes, he comes back as well too. But you could tell that even though they're not exactly seeing eye to eye, right? There's still something else that's going on. We learn like just a little bit of information about Jeffrey's son, which was the reason why he wanted to leave in the first place. But you could tell like there's still some sort of friction going on where we're not exactly
Right.
sure what it is exactly,
And then,
right?
well, Jeffrey doing some spycraft skullduggery too. What's going on there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He doing some things, man. You're
Right.
still not sure what's going on, right?
Right.
And last but not least, we had to talk about we Gil Hillary, right? Played by
Right.
Coco Jones, right? So she is now, well, I should say running or helping running this influencer house, right? Because yes, she's a social media influencer, right? So she and she friend Ivy, they more or less calling the shots, right? And while all this, but Ivy making all these moves, and it's like, well,
Right.
you didn't. And Hillary's like, you're not even talking to me about it. Why are you doing all this
Right.
kind of stuff, right? But Hillary, at the same time, making a little move as well, right? And
Right.
she wants to bring Ivy on board, but Ivy's like, no, I'm busy, right? But then
Right.
now, we gotta talk about Jazz, because yeah, Hillary and Jazz are a thing. I
Right.
called it, and it happened, right?
Well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Jazz is still feeling left out, like, yo, what I
Yeah.
mean? You don't want people to know that we're together, and there's actually a great little subplot involving Hillary, Ivy, and Jazz, right? At
Right.
this
Right.
cruise, as all you
Which
see.
I enjoyed. Which I actually
I love
surprised.
that. I
Well,
love
what I
that.
like
That was,
about
that
this
was
is
brilliant.
it's such a Nigerian kind of vibe to the whole thing. Like it's like
Oh,
watching a
like
Nigerian,
Hollywood.
yeah, real Nigerian soap opera thing, John. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But that's pretty much all the stuff that we've gotten so far
so
in the
far,
first
right?
three episodes, right? But yeah, Ricardo, take it away. Your thoughts on these first three
Yeah. So
episodes so
they
far, man.
what I liked is that they address the problem I had with Ashley's arc in season one, right? So my problem with Ashley's arc in season one is that it wasn't fleshed out enough and it was too separate
Agreed.
from the rest of the narrative. And
Yes.
what I was saying is that what they should have done is tie it into the major conceit, well, mostly involving Uncle Phil's election. That's what I felt they should have done, right? This is my Monday morning quarterbacking. Well, they seem to have done that exact thing with this, right? So with her new arc now, it's another situation that is a big social issue, right? So this time it's to do it. I don't know if you know who Ron DeSantis is, but it's that whole books and critical race theory in schools and high school thing, and that whole drama that going on in the larger political context. So it's another social issue she have to deal with, ties into a larger context, and then escalates. And what I like is that this time it's loosely affiliated and connected to Carlton, because now Carlton has the pressure to come back, and because he getting the political pressure, and they give it, the higher ups giving him goodies and giving him promises. He now have to flip the arc on her, which is something that they could have done with Uncle Phil and her. I felt, in that season one, right? With
Right.
that.
Right.
And I'm glad they did that. So they addressed my exact problem I had with Ashley in season one. They decided to do it in another. There's another big social issue, because again, Gen Z, have to deal with that shit, right? In high school, they're in high school right now. Their future is on the line in terms of when and how you get to internalize these ideas, and when not you should at all. And they have her perspective, making it in the conceit, and then the teacher get punished for it. And they do it in the first 2 episodes, and then the third episode it builds up that hilt. At the end of the third episode is great. Like I like that. Like what they do
Yes,
there.
yes,
Like,
I
oh
love
shit.
that too.
All right, that's a good escalation though. I'm so far really enjoying it. Like I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as and this is what, to me, this is the nature of the show. This is what it should be. Like the original Fresh Prince was a show that still was, comedy, but they put in drama. There's a product at its time. This, I'll admit, I still think it has a slightly flawed conceit for what it is in terms of its core premise. But it's perfectly fine as a show. Like if you don't worry about it, and it's still, but it doesn't, edge on the nostalgia conceit in the more insidious way. They bring back Tatiana Ali, still fine as hell, by the way. But
I knew, right?
right, yeah. But she serves a purpose, right? They do a good job with that, and they make it work in the conceit. Yes, it's nostalgia, but it's good nostalgia, right? It's not them trying to do some dumb bullshit with it. And what it might be doing, however, I do think they might be borrowing from something in the original show, because what's going on with this Ashley might be like an arc in the original show, and I think that's where it might be going with this new Ashley. So in the old show,
I'm trying to remember what it was though.
right? So in the old show, there was a big arc with Ashley going to public school.
Right.
Yeah, big arc. Like she going to public school, she secretly dropped out of the private school and went to public school, and the parents didn't know for a while, and that was a whole thing for a little while. I would. That was a real interesting idea, and I feel they might do that with this. Maybe, right? Maybe, right? So that's about it. I don't know. So I think with that, with the other subplot stuff, I not Hillary's thing not roping me in just yet. Like I enjoying her Jazz and Ivy, I enjoying that, but the stuff with the house and the which is the influencer stuff, that not really engaging me too much. And then I'm surprised but Will's arc is surprisingly flat for me. It's just him and Banks and sorry, and Philip still not really taking me. Here's the thing, I still have a problem with the Phillips like aesthetic. Like I still have an issue with that, because to me the big seller of Philip was he's a gentle giant now.
Right,
so
but in this case, I would admit, yeah, Philip could be a little intimidating. Oh, and I was sorry to cut you, but after mention this, Will is trying to get this scholarship, through basketball.
Oh,
so
right.
he's part
Yeah, I
of the team now.
want to get to
Right,
that.
but there's this talent
Scummy,
agent, sorry.
kind of scummy guy, and I really want to squid that.
Clearly on shit, but you're not sure for what reason or why.
Right.
But yeah, you're
So
not really sure.
That part of it is interesting, because like the stuff with just him and Philip is like, all right, I mean it there, but I don't expect Will to be like, oh well, it's just water under the bridge and they move on. No, I get why they have it playing out as it is, and him and Jazz having like a little slight tension over that, because like, yeah, you're not paying no rent, and like, is he paying rent? You're not too clear, right? Like,
No, he kind of pushing it. Leaving a little bit of cash, on the side, that kind of thing.
But I don't really get any sense that he really like pulling any weight. So that little small things, and like this, I absolutely love this version of Jazz. Like they totally they totally invert Jazz in this. They absolutely invert Jazz in this. He's the exact opposite, but it's totally working. And then well, all this stuff, I want to see what they're going to play out with that. But and then well, the other character I like it as well is Grimy Jeffrey, right? I like it, Grimy Jeffrey. What going on with him with this whole, he's spying on the family, but you're not sure why or what's going on there, and you're not sure the tension with Phil might ramp up, and that is the part with Phil I enjoy. Like him and Jeffrey is a good tension, but we're not sure because Phil don't know what's going on now. And like, yeah, he was thinking on the computer, but then when Phil come in the room, he just like looking like he reading papers normal, and like, wait, I real grimy.
Yeah, that was hard, dude. That was hard.
Yeah, that was real hard. I was like, all right, we have a little something going on.
I like how the scene ends where you think that Philip probably onto Jeffrey in terms of him using the laptop. You're not sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I really don't know where you're going with it. And well, I think Viv's arc is falling flat for me completely. That whole art respecting, they should have.
Yeah, you're not really accepting me, or what is it? I think she's part of some. I don't want to call it a club, you know what I mean? It's not like I don't know anything about artists or whatnot, right? But yeah, she feels excluded or something, and she feels that kind of way about it. I'm like, all right.
I'm still not feeling it, because again, she's still, sorry to say, she's still, and look, the original Viv, well, sorry, the second original Viv, right? She was also a kind of flat character thing. The original Viv, the dark Viv rises, right?
Yeah.
She had more interesting arcs and she had more energy, but this one just to me more feel like the I forget the section one, Daphne Maxwell, I want to say.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
second
Daphne
one name.
Maxwell Reed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Right. She's the one. It's the same problem I have with her. She just there's nothing there, and she just a housewife, and she have an arc, but it's not interesting at all. Yeah, that's not falling completely flat for me. Sorry to say. But that's about it. Yeah, I'm surprised I'm enjoying this for what it is. I dig in it. I can't be mad at it. Season one had its flaws, no doubt, and again, the same core conceit of the show has its problems. I do think, yes, it's still in the shadow of the original show. All the bullshit with Will Smith and the slap bullshit, that's still kind of hanging over the show a little bit, but not so much because they seem to have moved on largely from that. They didn't really address or even like it's not a thing. I think Morgan Cooper just made one little statement about it, and then like yeah, life goes on, moving on. But yeah, I just really enjoying it for what it is, and I'm pretty happy for what I've seen for what it is. So yeah, I think they're gonna be fixing the problems I have with it because they fixed the core thing I have with actually. Because last time that felt like a gimmick. Sorry to say it, right? They just do it because look, it's a dumb joke, and I know people just make it a thing, but it's like, well, they have to make a character gay or non straight, and they're gonna do something with it. Like, all right, fine, do something with it, and they kind of didn't, right? In my
Yeah,
humble
they
opinion,
just had a convo with she and Hillary, and that was it. That,
that
that
was
was
it.
that was it.
And
Yeah.
she had a kind of talk and a thing, and it's like, nah, we could have do more with that, man. But whatever. What they do this time, yes, that is what you're supposed to do with this. Right? Yeah, take it, have her be the impetus for the conceit, and have it escalate because of her. Right? She's the one who started. She got the ball rolling with what went down, right? And then the other white girl, what are they gonna do with that? And yeah, oh god, that little white girl boy, she well played that little white girl Karen perfect though. Holy shit.
Yeah,
She
boy.
well
Like, what's she on, boy?
yeah, no, but she really selling it. And this little girl real talented. That little girl have a future, right? I mean, she's a really good actress because she really selling the whole. This girl just kind of real bitter white woman shit now, but she's a little girl, right? But they're making it work. I enjoyed it for what it is. And you had to learn to balance it really well. So yeah, I'm happy with what I've seen so far with this first 3 episodes. I only see 3 episodes. I didn't see the fourth. Didn't. Well, I got the connection. The what do you call it? The when I sent an email. I
Oh,
got the
like
three
what?
episodes.
Oh, right,
So
right,
I
yeah.
was like, oh, where the fourth one is like, yeah, nah, I ain't special
Well,
enough.
I
So,
guess since we ain't special, we didn't get
yeah, we ain't
episode
special.
4, but we'll wait till
Whatever.
Tuesday. We'll wait till Tuesday.
I'll go wait.
It's no
Yeah, I'll go
problem.
wait.
No problem. No.
Yeah, so that is it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with what it is so far. Right.
Yeah, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing here thus far, right? What I was really impressed by overall is how we have these, all call it these, the A plot and the B plot. Basically, we get that, right? So you have these scenarios, if you will, that if you think about it, if you like move it from here and put it into Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, they feel like like they would fit in, the Fresh Prince, right? So you have these little
Right.
scenarios, like case in point, the stuff with Hillary and Jazz and Ivy, right? That would have
Right.
make for a nice little subplot in an episode of Fresh Prince, right?
Right.
The stuff
Exactly.
involving so like there's this one involving Will and Carlton sneaking out at night, and they go into South Central to some club or whatever it is. That would have make for like a nice little, A or B plot in an episode of Fresh Prince, right? So I like that they incorporating some sitcom-esque kind of scenarios into this, right?
Right.
But they're not like, it's not taken away from the real story. It's not taken away from the drama and the heart, right? It's just there to flesh the characters out even more. Even right down to Jazz as well, to his situation with Will, his situation with Hillary. Like those things work, right? But again, if you like just move them from this show here and put them in Fresh Prince, you'll feel like, yeah, like this is what you expect in a sitcom, right? Everybody is doing their damn thing in this performance wise though. Jabari Banks continues to impress as Will though. I just love his dramatic range here. He's not just
Yes.
the angsty tough guy from the streets, he like, but he's pretty much grown and matured and whatnot. He is still that type of person who's pushed himself up to do things. Case in point, that whole BSU thing. I honestly think he really pushed himself up for it.
Right.
Even though I know he is like, like there are still things in the academy would fighting for, and he's aware of it. I still think he can just kind of push himself out there because he is that guy, right? He wants to be the showstopper. He wants to be in front now. But because Carlton knows way more than he does, he kind of want to push Carlton as well too. You get that great little tension between the two of them in the third episode, right? Um, the stuff with Hillary, yes. Just like you, it not really warm me so far with the whole influencer stuff. But I just can't wait for shit to hit the fan in terms of
Right.
her and Ivy. But I just waited for like the ball to drop there. You know what I mean? Ashley, as I said before, yes, I do like the fact that we actually incorporating her into a major, subplot in the story. She's not just there in the back like, yeah, I'm
Right.
12 and I'm learning things, and people
Right.
don't want to take me on because I'm 12. You know what I mean? They're
Right.
actually like, all right, let's actually put her technically front and center, and let's
Yeah.
let's have a really solid, story arc build around her, right? A great subplot and whatnot, right? Um, the Philip and Jeffrey stuff needs to grow a little bit more. I know they just kind of let it simmer a little bit slow, but there's something going on between the two, right? And Vivian, I remember, if I'm not mistaken, last season there was this thing involving this guy who wanted her art to be part of his studio or whatever, and like. I think they addressed that, right? Because he was kind of down bad on her, but they kind of addressed that. Like, I thought that he was gonna come back in this season here, but like, no word from him as yet. I forget his name, right? The guy. I forget his name, but yeah, he was there, right? But yeah, in terms of just how the show is flowing, though, that is really what impressed me as well, too, right? So I would say just includes that. I know some people will still be iffy about this show here, and they might go into the season thinking, oh well, it's just gonna be all edgy stuff and violent stuff, and
Right.
I hate you, mom, and that kind of stuff. No, it's not like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, just the characterization given to these actors, you know what I mean, to these characters. I mean, it totally works too. So yeah, you could kind of relax and just appreciate the fact that yes, these are characters that you appreciate and you love, and know the show, as I said before, is not shitting all over your childhood. No, they're not
Yeah.
desecrating the
Exactly.
name of Fresh Prince, right? But
Right.
it feels like its own lived in thing. It
Exactly.
feels like it exists in its, like, in the real world now, right? But in no way, and I still defend the show for this, right? In no way is it trying to be like, oh well, now we have to make Will all angsty and violent, and
Right.
now everything has to be about guns. No, it's not about that. It's about, and I love this includes, like, again, just how this show is touching on a real issue, right? And it's, and similar to, like, to Fresh Prince, right? Yes, ever so often we will have the episode that touches on real life issues, right? So it's like that, but just imagine it as, the driving force of this season here. And I can't wait to see how things play out with the other 7 episodes. But yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed by how things are going right now. You could kind of tell that the creators behind the scene more or less like looked at the at the criticism with the last season, like, oh, maybe you should maybe stop trying too hard with the edgy stuff, right? You know what I mean? You could tell like
Oh
they kind
yeah.
of took
I,
notes
I I
and
never I
sort of
never got that
sorted
with
things
the
out.
I never got that with the first season, to be fair. Like it
Right,
was a different show, but it was like
right,
I didn't get the sense it was being too edgelordy or oh look how bad also it is. It was playing it like more realistic. Like that was the
right,
idea.
right.
Especially
Yeah,
in the case of Will, like being in Philly. Yeah, Philly will fuck you up. Sorry. Like that,
yeah.
like
This
to me
is
that was the
true.
thing. So like I didn't really get anything too out there with it. No, it didn't
Right,
feel too much like that. But yes, it did have that. But I do get where people are coming from. It's just it did have that Riverdale-ish kind of feel to the whole thing in that sense, right? Or oh, it's
right.
dark for no reason. No, it just there's an aesthetic choice, and it's more to do with like camera work and that kind of cinematography and that kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
and music choices as well too.
exactly. Right.
Well, I would say, just not really a nitpick, but just for now, I mean, the music choices. There's just a few that I know, I mean, not like how the first episode, the series premiere hit we with What We Do from Freeway. I was like, oh shit,
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean, like that
yeah,
was
no.
just such a great moment, right?
Yeah, like
But we
Philly,
don't
yeah.
get that. But we
Yeah,
do have some bangers here. There, like we get the Billie Eilish song that was blowing up on
right.
TikTok last year. We get that, and it was in a great moment too. I was like, hey, word, I like that, right? So I love that the show is still has its ear to the ground as far as hip hop and R&B goes, right? They're still keeping that momentum going. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, Wigil Sawiti was in this. I was like, all right.
Okay. I forget what she
It
was, but what city she
no,
was in.
well, she was in the cruise. So when they
Oh,
had,
okay, okay. I
right,
don't
she
know
was
this.
the
Yeah.
one who came in and was doing the happy birthday. She was singing happy birthday
Oh,
to
okay, that was
Ashley.
how we see. Okay, no
That was
problem.
her.
I missed
Yeah,
that.
I
I
was
missed
like,
that. Yeah.
okay. But yeah,
Right.
yeah. But yeah, for what to it, I'm absolutely enjoying this so far, man. I can't wait to see what we get next. I don't know if you have any last words or what you think we might get,
No, I
going
mean,
forward.
I dug season one for what it was, but I enjoyed this a lot more than I was enjoying early season one, and I was enjoying that. So like, yeah, this hopefully will be shaping up to be a much better season than season one, and yeah, that's how these things go. They just improve in simple and correct ways. Like just the Ashley thing alone was just such a step in the right direction, in my humble opinion. So like, yeah, good.